Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode here on Escape the System, Retire Early. My name is Mike. I'll be your host today and every day for the foreseeable future. Um, anyway, this episode here is gonna go into more detail about the youneedabudget.com app. I just app or website. I decided to break it down into two different episodes. The first one portion of this episode was the importance of budgeting. And if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend starting with that before continuing and watching this. So I'm going to link that below if I figure it out right here in the video. If not, it'll be in the details of the video. If you're new to budgeting, I would probably recommend skipping this episode and watching the other episode right here. That is called How to Budget on Excel, or I'm not sure how actually what's going to be called yet, but there's going to be an episode on breaking down the Excel budget, which I think is a little bit simpler. So I would recommend starting there if you're new to budgeting and don't know anything about budgeting at all. If you have some concept of budgeting and are more inclined to use a website-based budget, continue on. Thanks for tuning in again, and enjoy that. Hope you enjoy the episode. Let's go look at our example here. So I spent a good amount of time looking at all different budgeting websites, apps. Me myself personally, I just use an Excel file. I got a little complicated situation. I got 3 rental properties, my main property, and then I normally have a little bit of side income from managing other properties, as well as little other things I do on the side. So it gets a little complicated using some of the softwares because it picks up on my rental expenses as my expenses. I don't have it separated as much as I should probably. Which is probably more fault of my own than the software. So I just generally like it on an Excel file. It gives me able to budget. I'm also able to kind of just keep my accounting books for my rental properties on there as well. So that's what I use. But searching the web and looking into all these other options, I really like this website that you could see in the background now called You Need a Budget, or YNAB. And it's makes it in a simple process, and it really does a good job at assigning your money and putting every dollar that you have to work. So that if you're, up in the air and want to try, don't know which budget to try, or you want to try using an online one instead of an Excel file, this is one I would definitely recommend. There are a bunch of others. I've listed a few in my first episode that I did, and those I recommend as well. But anything that works, as long as you're budgeting, you could look at where your money is going, how much of it that you're actually spending from each paycheck, and how much you're saving. And the savings part is what I like to call your opportunity money. So with that money, what are you saving for? Where are you putting it? What opportunities are you putting it into? And what do you want that money to do for you? So let's take a look at this example here. This is basically a sample budget I made on YNAB. It's kind of their template standard, how it starts. If you just went on there and open an account. So YNAB, which you can find on YNAB.com or youneedabudget.com, they give a free 34-day trial, and then I believe it's a small fee of about $10 a month. And there are other softwares that are free, completely free, but this one I kind of really liked. It makes it interesting, and it's got some cool features that I think are pretty handy. But I'll just give you a quick rundown. These are pretty simple. I don't have any affiliation with YNAB or anything, so I'm not going to make any money if you do go with this site. Personally, don't care which site you go with. I just want you to budget, and I like the name of this one because it basically says you need a budget, and that I agree with. And so let's get into it. So basically, you can see here they break down your budget into a few different categories, and this is where you could be as granular and as in detail as you want on your budget, or you could kind of be more of an overall view. I know people who literally have 3 category budgets. It's earnings, spending, savings, and they're some of the best savers I know. So not necessarily need to have everything down, but I think in the beginning it's more important, and then later on, as you're saving more and those smaller costs are less material to you, you can kind of zoom out and do it a little bit more general purposes versus very needy and very not needy, but granular, very detailed. So for example, just a quick example would be like electric, water, internet's broken out here into 3 different categories. As you get more comfortable with what you're doing, you could eventually just put that all into one, the utilities category, and so on and so forth. But these are good this is a cool website. So basically, what you would do here is you would add an account. So say you had your, savings account. I'm going to do unlinked for now, but say you had a checking account, and every paycheck, we're just going to call this Chase Checking, and every paycheck you get 5,000. So right now we just got paid, and there's 5,000. We'll say we had 500 in there from before. So now we have 5,500. So that account's now linked in there, and it's going to tell us that we have $5,500 in there, and we're now going to need to assign that money. So what's cool about that is it will actually, if you start adding in all your expenses here, it's going to say what you need to, where that money is going. So if we have rent due on the 1st of August, and it's now right now I'm recording this, it's the 22nd, it will it will make sure that within the next 9 days, you're going to have that money. So, the way it does that is before you really get started with this, they want you to put in all your expenses and when they're due. And so I'll go through a few of those examples with you here, and just so we can get the general idea. But why I kind of like this website, for example, is so here you want to create a rent mortgage target. Say your rent's $2,000, and you need it for spending every month on the first of the month. So we could go ahead and put in all that information and then save that target. So now it's going to know you'll need $2,000 needed by the first to fulfill your rent obligation. So if you click this assign button, you click auto, and it'll be underfunded, and it's going to assign $2,000 from your bank account. It's going to make sure you have that money, and that money is going to be spent on rent on the first. So now that money is funded, and notice it only now says you have about $3,500 more to fund. So you can continue going and funding your money to these different categories based on what you spend and where you want to spend that money. But what's really cool with this website, after you put in all your expenses, you could also add things like savings accounts and savings opportunities. For example, there's say you're saving for a vacation, and you have a specific vacation. Let's call it. So you could edit all these titles, and you could delete them, add more, which is cool. So you can make this as detailed as you want, like I said before, or as broad as you want. But let's say we have a Hawaii vacation that we're saving for. We definitely want to go to Hawaii. We've done the research. We know we're going to go for 3 weeks because that's what we want to do. It's probably not even enough time to check out Hawaii, but we're gonna make sure we're there for at least 3 weeks. So we're gonna create this Hawaii target. We've already done the research. Say we know it's gonna cost us $5,000, and we want to go by a date. Say August 1st. Say it's August. We want to go next. Let's just say next winter. So we'll go say in February 1st. We're gonna want to be able to spend $5,000 on a vacation. So we're going to save that target by clicking Save Target, and it's going to show us for the next couple months up until February 1st, we need to save $625 a month to then have that $5,000 to spend on our vacation to Hawaii. So this every paycheck, or every 2 paychecks if you're paid twice a month, we're going to want to put around $312.50 to be exact into this account. Not account, we could call it an envelope. Is the way this is considered a budget envelope. An envelope budgeting. So this would be like pictured as if we had cash, and we actually move cash in the envelope, and we label that envelope Hawaii vacation. So every month, every paycheck, or every month, we put $625 and into that envelope. And that if we did this $625 monthly, we would have that $5,000 come February 1st to spend on our vacation, going on a vacation to Hawaii. This is a really cool feature because it gives you more motivation to save, and it's not so much when most people, when they get a paycheck, they couldn't tell you where it was spent and where that money's gone, and they don't have much even to show for it. Now okay, this money's going here. It's going to sit in my account until February, and then I'm going to spend it on February 1st for this trip in Hawaii, and that's what I'm going to have to show for it. I'm going to create these memories. I'm going to have this great vacation, and it's all because I was smart with my money when I got it, and quickly put it to work by assigning it a job, even if that job is later in the future. Another cool feature on here, I added in this category by clicking category group. It's called opportunities. I like to look at your savings as an opportunity. Basically, the difference between what you spend and what you earn is what kind of opportunity you're going to have in the future. And say I'm into rental properties, so say I wanted to create a fund for a new rental property that I plan on saving, and I'm thinking about I'll need $30,000, say, for a down payment. So you could create a need for spending to be a date in the future. say you wanted to do it in, a year. So we'll go to August 2022, and we're going to try to save 30,000 by then. So we're going to click that, and we're going to click Save Target. Now here, you'll see that you'll need to spend $2,000. You'll need to save $2,000 a month to purchase that rental property in a year. Now, that might be unrealistic for some of you. That might be realistic for some who have higher paying jobs and are going to, hop into this with 2 feet. But we could always come back and, that's a lot of money. We could say, okay, well, maybe we won't be able to get it in August 2022, but maybe the market will crash a little bit and the housing market will go down and you'll end up getting a better deal on a house in 2023. Not sure if that's happening, not saying it will, but in this case, it will end up meaning we'll not have to save as much each month. So let's make that the 23rd and click that Save Target. And now you can see you need $1,100 saved each month for your new rental property. And in 2 years, you'll have your $30,000 saved to put down as a down payment. Now, if you don't know what exactly you want to save, then don't do a rental fund. Don't even give it a name. You could delete this. I don't want a rental. Just call it an opportunity fund. Don't know how much you even want to save in that opportunity fund? Well, you don't have to decide. Let's just create a fund target. Let's call it, instead of needed for spending, let's call it a monthly savings builder. And we're just going to, every month into this opportunity fund, we're going to throw $500. And that's our target. So, whenever the opportunity comes around, we're going to know, someone says, oh, there's this opportunity to invest in this, or, oh, this house is on sale at a great price, it's for sale at a good price, and, do you want to go in with me, and something like along those lines. You could look at your opportunity fund and what your balance is at that point and say, all right, well, yeah, I have about this much I can spend on opportunity. And, it's a pretty cool feature. I honestly, have a difficult time with this on my budget, whereas I kind of just have my savings. I have a savings and a savings account that I kind of look as, I guess it would be considered my opportunity fund, but it's kind of merged with my emergency fund and kind of my vacations. That would be like my immediate spending that I would, consider spending. And then I have, my account within M1 Finance and Vanguard, where that would be more like my money-making machine, where once that money's in there, I'm not spending. That's for me to retire. That's for maybe my kids to retire on or whatever. And, it's just this generational money-making machine that, I personally think could last forever. So, you could even put that in here as under an opportunity. You could add that in and click money-making machine. So I personally love adding as much money as I can into this account, especially if you already have some opportunities met. Like I have some passive income from some of my rental properties, so now I'm more geared to putting more money into my money-making machine versus my opportunity fund. But if you're, still working in, for somebody else, say, and you want to get closer to, an opportunity where you could then start your own little side business that eventually maybe take over your main job and replace it, then maybe put more of a percentage to your opportunity fund and less to the money-making machine fund. But for me, I like to put as much as I can in here. So when you're done putting in your expenses, like, you could add in your average electric, say it's around $100, and that's needed a month. It's due on the 15th, so we'll put that in. So we'll go through and do all this, and eventually you could assign some of your money to that and see, okay, you're gonna get, you want to know where this money is and where it's gonna be assigned. But once it's all assigned and there's extra money, you can then pick out a number for your money-making machine. And I think the money-making machine, you could create a target here, and you could say by date, monthly, and we're gonna call it a monthly savings builder. So for this one, we want to say $1,000 every month. Put that in our money-making machine, and that's it. So we know $1,000 is going to go into there, and this will make sure that we assign $1,000, and then we could actually create a transaction later in the month where we move that $1,000, say, into your Vanguard total stock market or Fidelity's total stock market. There's tons of ETFs total stock market, so just make sure. The biggest thing is the expense ratio. Make sure the expense ratio is low. Vanguard is 0.04%. I believe Fidelity. Someone told me Fidelity has a free one, so check that out. Fidelity has them. Schwab, I'm sure, has them. Everybody, there's tons of them. There's a cool site called M1 Finance that could automate your investing, and you could buy into the ETF. So they have VTI on there, which is a Vanguard Total Index Fund. And there's just an endless amount of opportunities for low cost index funds. So pick one, whichever one you like, whichever one that works. If you happen to have a Fidelity account, I'd probably recommend that one. If you happen to have a Vanguard, I recommend that one. Just remember, like I said, just keep an eye on the cost, the expense ratio, as that number is pretty important and could cost you a lot of money if it's a little higher than another fund. So that would be the money machine. And then, like I said, like when you move that thousand to that, it will get recorded. So you could have $1,000 assigned to it because you say you still have 3,500 or whatever it was out and you're done. And then when you're actually make the transaction, so okay, I'm going to move the money out. You could go into your reports here. Sorry, it's into all accounts, and you could add a transaction for, say, we're going to do it today, and we're going to pay. You can make the pay. You could add this account on there, but say we're going to go Vanguard, and we're going to categorize it. It's going to be our money making machine. So we're going to come here. We're going to add money making machine, and it's going to be an outflow $1,000. So then we're going to save. And boom. Now we go back to our budget over here, and you should be able to see that we assigned 1,000 and we sent out 1,000. So there's nothing we have left to hit, but it's fully spent. So we hit it. We did it, and this goal was completed this month. That money is now sitting in VTI. Whereas in this one, if we did assign the 500, say we want to just leave it here in our checking account, it will just stay there. You don't need the activity of the 500 there. It's just sitting in that account, and this will carry over to the following month. And know that of your 5,000, whatever's left in your checking account at that point, 500 of it is sitting in an opportunity fund from your previous month. And then in August, you'll end up putting another 500. So then the following month after August, you'll know $1,000 of your checking account is for your opportunity fund, and that money won't show up here, and you're ready to assign. So this software is pretty cool. It definitely simplifies it. And then if you don't have like a lot going on, or you're just one rent payment, your standard fixed bills, and utilities and that stuff, and then some of your other expenses, I would definitely recommend a website. It's just simpler, it makes it easier, and it's a great place to start. And then as you get more complicated, if you get rental properties and things like that, if you want to move on to an Excel. Hey guys, I noticed while I was editing that I forgot to mention another great thing about Excel is if anyone isn't familiar with how to budget, I actually highly recommend Excel for that reason. It will teach you more how to budget than these other sites that kind of automate most of the steps. You get to just if you're a little familiar with Excel, you could create your own budget similar to the one I have in the background here, or you could actually download this template that I've created for free. I'm going to try to link it right here in the video. If I can't figure that out, it'll be in the video details below, along with a bunch of other useful links. And I'm also going to have an episode that breaks this budget that you see in the background down and shows exactly how to use it, how it works, and what I like about it. The best thing that I want to just mention here is that it will teach you how to budget. It will show you the different, how to break things down into categories, how to track your expenses, and then label them and budget. And you will be able to see your savings percentage. And it's something that I definitely highly recommend. One of the cool features is it will show your savings percentage from all your income, and then also your side income, so you could eventually actually see what percent eventually when you're saving 100% of your main job because of your side hustles and whatnot, you'll know that you'll be financially independent at that point from your main job, where you don't need to continue working for money purposes. I mean, obviously if you love your job, and if you want more of a cushion or just like saving money, definitely continue, but you will know that you have that power, that it's not that important. You're not doing it strictly for the money since you're saving 100% of it. All right, well, that being said, I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode, and just remember to budget. Or if you're just really good with Excel, feel free to start there as well and do what works best for you. Like I said in the beginning, just budget. That's all you need to do, is you need a budget so you can see what your costs are, see what you're spending, and see what you're saving, and what kind of opportunities you're creating, and where you are on this journey to early retirement. Yeah, so another thing I would like to just touch upon real quickly is this emergency fund. I think this is definitely a good thing that this to add into your budget on this site. I don't think they create an emergency fund account, but all you have to do is under any category you want to click it, just click add, little add category, type in what you want, emergency fund, and then you could do the same thing. So for this, you could create an emergency fund target, and it could just be like a savings balance. Save this amount over time, maintain the balance by replenishing any amount spent. So you could say that you want to have an emergency fund of $5,000 by the end of the year, and anytime it goes over, you spend it, it'll replenish it. So right now it's going to say you need to put $833 into this fund each month to then at the end of the year have $5,000. And again, this will be similar to your opportunity fund, whereas you could just leave it in this account, or you could create another account and move it into there. But either way, if you assign the $833 to that fund, it's going to count that fund being in there, and then next month they'll let you assign the $833, and then around $1,600 will be held for the emergency fund, and it won't show up here in this ready to sign to be able to use it for other expenses. So you'll be able to look at that ready to sign and know, okay, I now have, if this was what it said, I now have $1,100 to still spend on some of my other expenses. If you had all your expenses already signed and everything was already hit, so you had your electric bill in here and you needed 100, so that was already had the 100, your water bill and so on, and everything was already filled out, and you were left with an extra $1,000. Well, then you would look at where would you like to increase. So you can increase your monthly spending in your money making machine, or say you want to get to your opportunity fund quicker and faster, you could change that target. You could edit the target over here, and let's say let's go up to $750 each month, and we'll save that. So now it's showing you need $250 more. You have that money to assign it. So if you want to assign it, you can just type it in here and move on. So that's basically a quickest rundown on this site. There you have plenty of tutorials on this website and this budget and any other budget on how you could utilize the budget. I just try to give you a quick overview and really just talking about why it's important to budget. I didn't want to go too much into detail on how these budgets work, since there's tons of videos out there, and I'm not sure if you're going to even end up using this exact budget. I don't need you to. It doesn't make a difference to me if you use this one, but I just wanted to show you this one because I thought it was pretty cool. I probably looked at 5 or 10 of them over the time, do my research for this episode, and this is just one of the ones that stood out to me and was one of my favorite ones. And I actually might start using it a little bit, and then maybe separate my rental property budgets on my own side, and then maybe do my personal budgeting on here. I haven't decided yet, but I just want to get this video out to you. I know it's been a while since I made a video. I lost the computer. Since making that last video, I was out of computer. I'm actually still out of computer, using a borrowed computer currently, and I should be getting my new computer in within a couple weeks. So I'm going to hopefully continue to make videos, try to make videos about every week, one a week is what my goal is going to be. But my guess is I want to probably miss one a month, so I'll probably shoot for around 3 to 4 videos every month, and I'll try to keep those tips coming. So if you guys have any recommendations, or if you want me to do a video on anything specifically, let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. Or if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll be glad to get back to you as soon as I can. On the next episode, I'm thinking I'm going to do about how we could, all the different side hustles, some side hustle ideas, and how we could help bring in some passive income, which will help us increase our savings rate and help us get us to that goal of early retirement even sooner. Because another trick about the side hustles, the best thing about the side hustles are passive income. If it's passive, or to the point where you're not doing much time or little to no time, you could use that to help offset your expenses in retirement too. You could retire and still keep that passive income. Whereas when you retire, you're going to obviously lose your W-2 job or whatever it may be, and you'll still have that passive income. So having even 10-20% of your expenses covered by passive income would be huge, because that will just limit how much you actually need to save, and it would shorten your working career by a substantial amount. So that's definitely where I'll go next with this, and something I definitely recommend to everybody is to start looking into what kind of side hustles they can start, and start thinking about getting some of that passive income started, so you retire early and not sit on the couch and do nothing all day. Retire. I mean, go make this world a better place. Go do something that you love to do, regardless if it makes you money or not. Go clean the beaches. Go clean the oceans. Whatever you want to do. Wherever your heart is. Go teach everyone how to garden. I'm trying to recently learn how to garden now. I'm growing a bunch of food, and I'm having a blast with it. But I'm definitely a rookie, so you come teach me how to garden. That'd be great. But no, anything you want, wherever your heart is. That's what this is about. I'm not trying to, make it seem like a lot of people when you say early retirement, oh, you're going to be a bum for the rest. Like, no, no, I'm just not going to work your standard 9 to 5 job for 40, 50 years. And I don't think that's what's life about. 5, 10 years of a hustle is, I think, more accurate. And then the rest of your time, I think, should be spent doing something that you love. All right, stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks.